Hey guys, Pogo here, and welcome to the next episode of BanManagement. In this episode, we're going to pick up where we left off last time, which was we got into the point where we configured the key system, but we needed to do some work with JSON in order to read for two parts, for the checkban and for the player login, to actually read the information. Because, if I run checkban, I want to know all of the information from the ban, when it happened, and whatever information is in the database I want to know. And when I do the player login, I need to know the message as to, why they were banned, so I can display that message when I kick them. So we're going to use JSON because I used it in the website. It's really easy with PHP. So it's going to send us a message encoded in JSON, and then we're going to parse it here. Now, JSON, if you don't know, stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's just one way to to serialize data, and it works. It's similar to YML. Sort of looks like this, except it uses a lot more curly braces and quotation marks. And we'll see what a sample JSON response will look like, but we're not going to manually parse it or anything like that. We're going to use a library because there are tons of libraries available for JSON in any language. So we're just going to use a library for this. So I found this library here called Minimal JSON, and we're going to use this one. I have used some other libraries before. I think there's an official JSON library or one that's more common than this, more popular. But it's really kind of confusing, and I don't like it. I was just looking through some of the code samples here, and this looks really nice for, this looks like really nice and really easy. You can just use this get method and give it a key and get a value, and that makes perfect sense for us because, we're just having a couple of pieces of data. So we're going to try this out, and of course there's a ton of different classes and methods and everything, so this should be pretty good. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the library, and then we're going to take a look at what a sample response would look like for us. So to get the library, you could go to releases and download the jar and stick it in, but we could also just use Maven. So this is the group ID, make note of that. And with IntelliJ, it's really easy to do. That's one of the reasons why I like it so much. So we're going to go here to open module settings, there it is, and we're going to go to add libraries. You can, download the jar, stick it in there, and then add it as Java, but we can also just do from Maven, and this will automatically download the library and keep it updated for us. So I hit search. Actually, I think I need the name of it as well. So the name, or no, it actually managed to find it. And we want the later version, which is 0.92 or 0.9.2. So you just type in the group ID, which it has right there, and it'll automatically, find it, and we'll do that. And we want to download it. We'll also grab the sources in Java Docs just in case we want to take a look at it. But that is optional. So Maven is going to download all of the stuff for us, and it will keep everything managed. We want to add it to the Bukkit library, or we want to add it, to this project, so that we now have access to it. I'm going to hit apply, and okay. So now we have the file, the sources, and the Java Docs, and those are all right there in that lib folder, and they're all available to us now. Okay, so let's take a look at a sample response. And what I'm going to do, we're going to stick the logic in the else, because we're saying if data is null or data is key, then we know that the config file must be set up incorrectly. Either it wasn't able to connect to the website or the key is incorrect, so we send them that message. Otherwise, we can assume that we got some sort of a response, and the response may or may not be empty. So we're just going to have it print out the response that it gets so that we can look at what an empty response would look like and what a response with data would look like. So otherwise, we're going to print it out. So system.out.println data so that we can see what it looks like. And then over here, let me just really quickly connect to, here's the BanManagement. Looks like it doesn't have the username. Alright, so I'm going to just stick the password in here so that it will work. And in the meantime, I'm also going to start up the Bukkit server, and I'm going to try logging in with my Minecraft account. And then I think that there should be a ban in there already, so we can see what it looks like when I do have a ban. And then we'll also see what happens if I don't have a ban. So PHP Storm is starting up, so I can fix that. Minecraft, I will let that go. Downloading an update. And then this is also running, so just a couple of things that are all happening at the same time. The server starting up, Minecraft is starting up, PHP Storm is starting up, and alright, so we can actually just see really quickly what this will look like. Actually, no, I think I need to put the password in first, but in the meantime, let's just export this. Gonna hit the make button, and that is going to export it for us. And let's just quickly make sure that should export it, and it should include all of the libraries that we need. But we'll just go to artifacts, and we actually need to add library files that we need these to be inside of here. So these minimal JSON things, we want those to be in there. Because we need to be able to access them when the program is running. So, okay, that should be good there. And, okay, PHP Storm is here. Let's close out of that project and open up the BanManagement web. Sorry about this, guys, but almost ready. And let me just delete the password for 1 second. So I stuck the password in there, and here's the website. It says we have 1 ban, that's my UUID, and the reason is you have been banned. So good, that is in there. And if we go back here, we'll see that it should print out whatever request we give it, assuming that the plugin works with that it has the latest version. So let's go connect to localhost, and it's logging in. And awesome. So this is right there what I have selected, what we got. And I'm just going to stick it in a comment right here so that we can easily see it. So that's what it looks like. Everything is enclosed inside of curly braces to denote the different layers. So if you have an array, that will also have curly braces. All of the keys and value pairs have quotes around them. So this is for the ID of 20. Which we don't really care about, that's just the ban ID, the UID, the date, and the reason. So that's all the data, and this is pretty easy to read. You can have some long JSON stuff if you have a lot of different things inside of there, but that's an example of when you actually do have something that's there. Let's just see what happens if I go here and I delete the ban. So I do remove, and it says key. Strange. Alright, let's just quickly take a look. Oh, that's right. I think that's something that we had to fix, where it won't actually remove it because the key is not set. Yes, that was going to be done by user accounts, so we will fix that. But I'm just going to comment that out for now. I just want to remove that. And then if we go back, alright, good, so it's gone. And we will fix that in probably the next video to actually have the user accounts work. Don't worry about that for now. So, we have no bans now. So I'm going to disconnect, and then I'm going to log back in. And that time it says null. So that is actually a little bit of an issue for us because we want to be able to differentiate from not receiving anything and receiving something. So we're going to change get a little bit, and we're going to say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say data is equal to get. So first we're going to do that, and then we're going to say echo data. So if data data is not equal to null. So if data is not equal to null, then we're just going to give data. Otherwise, we're going to do array like that. And why is this an error? I don't know why this is an error. Oh, there we go. Okay. So what this is going to do is first we're going to get the data. It's going to use that get function in the API file. But then what we're going to do is, this is a ternary operation. It's essentially just saying if the data is not equal to null, then we're going to encode whatever the data is and then echo it. If it is null, then it's going to be an empty array. And when I do array like this, array with parentheses, that just means create an empty array. And when you encode an empty array, it's just going to be just two curly brackets. So that is saved up there. Let's just see what happens now. Before it just said null when I left, but now when I join, it will just have these empty brackets right there. So if I join and there's no ban data, that is what I can expect to get out of it. Okay, so now that we know what a sample request may look like, we can actually go ahead and use it. So here's the file, and in this case right here, all we really care about is the reason. In this here, we're gonna write the checkban to actually work, but here we only care about the reason. We don't care about the date. We don't care about the UID. We don't care about the ID. So we're going to eventually get to this point, but first we need to make a JSON parser instance. So let's just see how to do it. So first thing is we are going to use JSON object because we're not working with an array, we're just working with an object that has a bunch of different keys and values. So we'll do that, and to import it, we're going to import, and it will, automatically find it for us from the library. There it is, JSON object. And then we're going to read it from the string, and the string is going to be data. So whatever data we get, we're going to read it into this JSON object. Then when we want to kick them, we're going to kick them for JSON object dot, and then you'll see all of these different things, and we're going to use the getString method. So we're going to get the string called reason, but you can also specify a default just in case it doesn't exist. We'll just make that null because that's not going to happen. That's just saying if this reason here doesn't exist, if that key reason doesn't exist, it'll return whatever the default value is, which we'll just say is null. So this is going to read the JSON, it's going to parse the data into this JSON object, and then we're going to disallow with the reason being whatever the reason is. But actually, before we do that, we should probably check to see whether there actually is a reason or not. So JSON object dot, and there should be excuse me. So let's just try. I believe we should just use size. So we'll just say that if the size is 0, as in if there's nothing, if it's completely empty, or then we would allow them. So if it's not 0, then we would disallow them. So we'll just go ahead and see if that works. So I'm going to hit make and reload, and right now I have no bans. There's no ban for me, so it should just let me in without any kind of error or anything. And alright, so we did get an error, which I sort of expected. No class def found error or data clips. Okay. Alright, so this is not being made properly. It couldn't find. It was saying that it couldn't find the class. So when we were trying to use it, it was just saying class not found exception because it's not actually exporting this properly. So let's delete that, and then we're going to do we want to do that, and actually we need to go to the workspace, which would be here. And then this is, oh yeah, here, BanManagement, Bukkit. Let's just see if this will work. We'll give this a try. If not, I just have to figure out exactly how to get the class to show up correctly. And this very well may not work, but we'll see in a second. Alright. Cool, so I didn't see any startup errors. No, looks like we got... Oh, good. So that actually did fix it. So now we just have this issue. Alright. And that's actually what I expected to happen. But just so you know, for those who didn't understand what I did, under artifacts I said that I wanted the extracted jar file. So it's going to extract whatever, it's going to extract the contents of the jar file and then stick it in there so that all of those classes will show up in my source. And that's what I need. In Eclipse, you will add the jar file to your class path. And then when you go to export, there should be an option for, you know, include jar files or uncompressed jar files or whatever. And that's what you'll want to choose. But that works. And then what happened here was when it got back the these right here, the square brackets, it wasn't expecting that. It was expecting curly braces. So let's just let's just say this. We're going to say if data, well, let's just do this to make it easier. So we'll say if data is equal to that, then we're good. And then we'll just go like this. So first we're saying if the data is equal to null or the data is equal to key, we know it's not set up correctly. If the data is equal to these square brackets, then we know that they have no bands and we can just return. But else we want to do that. And actually we can just try to just do that. We can say if data is not equal to that, then do that. And then if data is, then obviously nothing would happen. So that'll fix that error. But right now when I join, I have no bands. So this should just kick me. This should just let me write in with no error this time. And great, no error, no complaint, no messages, no nothing. It just let me write in, just like it should, because I'm very clearly not banned. But let's go back over to here, and we're going to add a new ban. So the UUID is going to be that, and the reason is going to be this is a test, and that should work. Though perhaps it won't work, I don't know. No, alright, that's kind of what I thought. And I think that the reason is, let's just really quickly check. So then, alright, my guess is that it's probably this again. Alright, so let's just do that. And then, okay, that is post. Let me just see if this will work now. Okay, good. So now the ban is in there, and it works. And we're going to work on the website a little bit eventually, but now that ban is in there, and that's really what I cared about. So let's try now joining, and now it should kick me out. And it says, failed to connect to the server, testing. So then it just says it's disconnecting, and then it says the reason is testing, and then it says I lost connection for that. So as you can see, that very clearly did work. I said I disallowed it for the result of checkban, and in red I wrote whatever the reason is, with the default being null. So it very clearly read in the JSON whatever the response was. It found reason, which in this case was equal to testing, and then it kicked me for the reason of testing. And since it actually doesn't say you have been banned, which I thought it would, but we can just, you could, add a message in front of it saying, you have been banned. Yeah, and I guess that there's no, I don't know why it doesn't say that you've been banned, because I set the result to be kick banned, but, oh well, that's fine. We could just stick in front of it a message saying, you have been banned, and then whatever the message is, like that. So, if we try it again, it'll say you have been banned, and then the reason is testing, and that very obviously works. If we go to edit, which may or may not work, no, the edit doesn't work right now. Alright, that's fine. But yeah, so we can clearly see that it does pull the data correctly. And now we're almost finished. We already have this kind of part worked out, but we're going to do the checkban. And I'm just going to copy this whole part right here, just because some of it will be useful. But here's checkban right here, and this is the else where we want to do it. And this is the important information that we're going to eventually want, but we're going to send them the information. So we'll have it be, so we have checkban right here, and so we receive the data back. And first we'll go ahead and say, we want to say that if the data, do an if else. And we're going to say if the data is equal to these square brackets, then we know that there are no bans. We can just very easily say that there are no bans. So we'll just send them the message saying no bans found. You could specify what the name was if you want to. But otherwise, we can assume that we did find a ban. And we're going to stick that right down here. So we're going to say send message, and there's the information. We want to just show them. We could do all 4 pieces of data. Why not? Chat color.green, and then we're going to say ban ID is JSON object.get. It could be get int or get string or whatever, but we'll do get int ID. With the default would be -1, and again, we're not going to worry about that. And there are 4 lines, so it's going to be the ban ID, the UUID, which is going to be get string UUID with the default of null. Then after that will be the date, and the date will be get string date default of null, and then reason, which will be get string reason with a default of null. And that should be good. So let's go ahead and try this out. Made the build, and I'm going to reload. And actually right now it's not going to let me in, obviously. So let's just delete the ban. Now it's gone. Now it will let me in. Perfect. And let's just try it. Checkban pogostick29. So then it will just say name pogostick29. And I think that's just a debug message, the name and UUID. That should be right up. Right here. This is just the debug line, but it just tells me that it matched the name of the UUID. And it says the config file is not configured properly. So data is either null or key. Let's just comment that out for a second. Although, I guess maybe I didn't configure this correctly or something, but let's just try it again. Still says key. Alright, let's go see why it's doing this. It must be this file not found exception if it's saying that the or let's just have it print the stack trace just to see. Yeah, so it is this. File not found API/checkban.php. If it didn't find... Oh, because it's not checkban, it should be get. That was silly. I guess I must have just made a typo there. But now it should work. Yeah, no, okay, good. So the issue was just that it said the wrong thing. It said checkban instead of get. But as we can see, it now says no bans found, which is exactly what I expected, because it's empty. But I'll just go ahead and add one for my UUID, and I'm not going to log out because then it will, of course, kick me right out. Or I'm not going to log out because then I can't log back in, rather. But if I add the ban while I'm still logged in, I should be good, or I could just use the console. So the reason is this is a test. Hit submit, and let's run checkban again. So it gets the name and it gets the UID immediately, and we got an error. Okay, not an error, not a number 20. Okay, so fine. It just wants this to be get string. That's fine. Because I guess when it encoded the value, when PHP encoded it encoded it as a string instead of as an int. So then got a little bit annoyed, but that's no problem. Oh, there we go. And that was immediate. But as you can see, it says the ban ID 22 UUID. It has the date, which is correct. That was just 1 minute ago, and it has the reason. And then, of course, just to show you one more time, I'm going to disconnect and I'm going to reconnect. And it's really fast, actually, but it immediately says you have been banned for this as a test. And it would theoretically be even faster if I were running the server and the website off of the same host. But I'm not, and it's already pretty much as fast as it could possibly be. So that is all for this video. We added the JSON parsing support, which is actually a lot easier than I thought because of this awesome library that we have. But now the checkban command will work. It'll either just say no bans found, or it'll print out information. It should say no ban found, or it will print out the information about the ban right here, and that's just a template sample that I could delete. And then in the player login, it will also say if the data is not equal to an empty ban. So if there is a ban, we're going to read it, and then we're going to kick them for the correct reason. And we clearly saw that both of these features worked correctly. Now, the website is a little bit messed up, and I had to comment out a couple of things. I'm going to comment them out right now because that's really not a good thing. But in the next video, we're going to fix it because the website's a little bit broken. We need to add support to all of these operations to see if the user is logged in. So these operations should work if the user is logged in or if the user is supplying a key. Because right now I can't do any of these operations from the web interface because it will not let me because I'm not specifying what the key is. So we're going to do that. We need to add the HTML part for the login, logout, information, all of that. And then we need to add checking to these files to see if they're logged in. Then we want to allow them to do it even if they don't specify a key. So that is all for this video. As always, subscribe if you want to see more. Comment with what you want to learn. If you like this video, click the like button. And I'll see you guys soon with some more coding. Bye for now.